Dogs are evil.
Who?
We can never erase these scenes from our memories. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 unsettling cartoon moments on TV.
So you're the new baby, huh?
That's right. I'm the new baby. I'm the new baby and you're the old baby, see? And you better get something straight right off the bat. There ain't room in this house for the both of us.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're taking a look at haunting and disturbing scenes from animated shows that will forever stick with us. Number 10. Alone. SpongeBob SquarePants. You ever get that empty feeling inside? This scene sums up that sensation in a nutshell. Upon discovering a time machine, Squidward travels to the future, the past, and whatever this place is. At first, Squidward is actually relieved to be in this blank world of nothingness, as he can finally have some peace and quiet. He's slowly overcome with isolation and paranoia, however, as a series of echoing voices repeatedly whisper the word alone. This scene is almost surreal enough to be in a Stanley Kubrick or David Lynch movie. Watching it, you truly feel like the last person on Earth, with only the voices in your head left to keep you company.
Where is anything? Where?
Number 9. Batman's Nightmare. Batman, the animated series. Although he was only a child at the time, Bruce Wayne has always felt responsible for not being able to prevent his parents' murder. Bruce views their deaths as his greatest failure. That is, until he watches his buddy Harvey turn into a two-faced monster.
Now look at me!
Bruce's guilt and grief builds up to this unnerving nightmare where the worst moments of his life are all revisited. There's nothing Batman can do, as his mentally unstable friend literally loses balance and falls into a pit of despair from which he cannot return.
Why couldn't you save us, son?
As if that's not emotionally scarring enough, Bruce must also confront the disappointed looks on his parents' faces as they ask why he couldn't save them. Number 8. Honey Sugarman's Lobotomy. BoJack Horseman. If you want to know why BoJack Horseman is such a lost soul, look no further than his family history. As horrible as BoJack's childhood was, his mother's upbringing was even worse. Distraught over her son's death, Honey Sugarman gets drunk and puts her daughter Beatrice in harm's way. Beatrice's father only sees one way to deal with his wife's womanly emotions: a lobotomy.
She's a brand new woman now, and she'd like to meet you very much.
It's nothing short of heartbreaking, as Beatrice meets the empty shell that was once her lively mother, who tells her young daughter to never love anybody as much as she loved her son.
Promise me you'll never love anyone as much as I loved Cracker Jack.
What makes this especially unsettling is that lobotomies weren't uncommon back in the day, making this situation all too real. Number 7. Frozen Arnold, the Magic School Bus. We know what you're thinking. How could an educational show like the Magic School Bus have anything remotely unsettling in it? Well, we're not sure if the creators intended to make our hearts stop, but they succeeded with flying colors here. It's a fairly straightforward trip to the solar system for Miss Frizzle's class, until worrywart Arnold almost kills himself. We're not kidding. Arnold removes his helmet and his entire head is frozen solid, burning a jaw-dropping image into our fragile young minds. Oh, but don't worry kids, Arnold's ailments are nothing that a box of tissues can't cure. Seriously though, Arnold would be stone cold dead, and the end of this episode even acknowledges that.
And another thing, if an astronaut ever does make it to Pluto, she'd better not take her helmet off.
Number 6. Stewie lets his psychologist die. Family Guy. Stewie may be an evil, diabolical baby, but he's also revealed signs of vulnerability over the years. The youngest Griffin lets down his defenses during a psych evaluation, even revealing that his British accent is fake. Stewie ultimately decides that the world must never know the real him. When his psychologist suffers a heart attack, Stewie could easily hand him his medication, but instead cruelly condemns him to death so nobody else will know his secret.
Please, there's not much time.
While we've seen Stewie kill people in the past, Dr. Pritchfield is perhaps the first victim who takes a toll on his conscience. The conflicted expression on Stewie's face as he tries to sleep that night says it all. Number 5. Him, the Powerpuff Girls. Given its comical, colorful exterior, You wouldn't expect the Powerpuff Girls to have a legitimately intimidating antagonist.
I can't say it! This is a villain so evil, so sinister, so horribly vile!
While he's every bit as flamboyant as the other villains on the show, him is the only one who truly strikes dread into the viewer. We're given goosebumps from the second him appears on screen for the first time, with the camera slowly zooming in on his ghastly smile.
How could you let the Powerpuff Girls humiliate you so completely?
While him's appearance alone is enough to make us uncomfortable, this King of Darkness ups the creep factor whenever he opens his mouth.
Yes! Yes! Well, I love it when you girls fight. I think you should fight more often.
Him's presence is only made more unsettling since we don't entirely know what he is, although he is clearly the closest thing this world has to the devil. Number 4, the Puppetmaster, Avatar: The Last Airbender. If the idea of possession makes you uneasy, this episode is guaranteed to have your skin crawling. Upon befriending a seemingly kindly warbender named Hama, Katara learns that her new mentor has been exacting revenge against the Fire Nation through an inhumane technique known as bloodbending.
Once you perfect this technique, you can control anything or anyone.
Whenever Hama physically manipulates another human being, you can practically feel their insides being twisted around. It is straight up distressing. In addition to getting under Katara's skin, Hama manages to get inside her head, as she forces her young protege to practice bloodbending in order to save her friends.
Don't hurt your friends, Katara.
With the essence of a horror movie, the experience leaves Katara and the audience completely distraught, with no happy endings.
You're a bloodbender.
Number 3, You Are a Lone Child, Adventure Time. The Lich's hellish design is perfectly complemented by Ron Perlman's sinister voiceover performance, making for the most formidable foe ever to face Finn the Human.
You are alone, child.
The undead villain nearly succeeds in offing our heroes in this episode, engulfing them in darkness.
We will sail until every light has been extinguished.
As the Lich makes his way towards the helpless Finn, he delivers a spine-tingling monologue about his desire to eradicate the universe of all life. Each word that comes out of the Lich's mouth feels like a snake slithering into one's ears. It's as if we're encountering death incarnate. Of course, since the Lich represents death, Finn finds that the only way to defeat him is with life. Number 2, the Boogieman, the Real Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters has always been a macabre franchise, but this scene from the animated series is arguably more disturbing than anything in the live-action movies. The show didn't disappoint with its portrayal of the Boogieman, who looks like the Joker with an enlarged head and sharper teeth.
It's him.
Anybody who grew up during this era will never forget the moment where the Boogieman emerges from a closet and stares Egon in the eyes.
I remember you.
Egon, move!
Egon recognizes this supernatural creature from his childhood, and, even more unsettling, the Boogieman remembers Egon as well. The whole scene feels like being reunited with a tormentor from your past who you thought was dead and buried, but is still very much alive. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Freiburg, stop!
Lulu, take care of Lulu.
Excuse me, Ed, but is this your... Good Lord, man!
Number 1, Rick and Morty Die. Rick and Morty. How many shows can you think of where the world ends by episode 6? Fortunately for Rick and Morty, they're able to escape from the Cronenberg-infested world and resume life in an alternate reality where their counterparts recently died.
Oh my god, Rick! Is that us?
For Rick, digging a grave for his alternate self is another day at the office.
Everybody seems so far away from me.
Morty, however, is completely mortified as he not only looks over his mangled corpse, but also comes to terms with the fact that he's abandoned almost everyone he loves and traded them in for an identical set. While things soon go back to normal, or at least normal by this show's standards, the experience will haunt Morty until he dies.
And every morning, Summer, I eat breakfast 20 yards away from my own rotting corpse.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.